Hello everyone, welcome to another episode on Angela Lapetina Presents. And I have a special guest from United Kingdom. He's a film director and writer. His name is James Alexander Allen. Let's learn more about him. All right.
Look, I'm sorry, but I know about cold reading. You're picking things up just looking at me, listening to me.
Any exploration of the metaphysical requires a leap of confidence.
You shoot out vague statements in the hope that I'll fill in the gaps. Well, I could take a wild stab at your grandmother probably passed and you were very upset when it happened.
If you're not going to take this seriously...
I suppose you miss her every day and you wanted a way to talk to her again, so you got hooked on this.
Reg, that's not funny.
See? It's easy. Oh, look, I'm getting a Harry, a William, Will, Bill, Billy. Is Billy the name of your dog that went missing when you were 11?
That's impossible.
He was all right in the end. Lived a very long life. But your mother, Meredith, always felt guilty about it. Knew how upset you were.
Stop it! How are you doing this?
I don't know.
What about the trip, then?
What?
What?
The trip, go on.
A trip? Are you going somewhere?
India, come on, India.
India? Are you going to India?
Who are you? What do you want from me?
Yeah, she's going back to that temple where she snobbed Gary 20 years ago.
Who's Gary?
Hello.
Hi, Angela.
How are you?
Very well. Little bit kind of.
And I feel very honored to have you and to learn more about you and also your philosophy and all these things. And just for those people who are watching and our followers from Angela Lapetina Presents and also Red Illuminate, James has 7 awards and 9 nominations. And also you have you already have like a 5 or 6 short films that you direct and screenplays, right? In total, like a 9.
It's got to be near that number, yeah. I'm cutting 2 more at the moment. I actually just finished a pass on one just the other day.
Fantastic.
But yes, I've honestly lost count of how many things I've written that didn't get made. But that's, I imagine, everyone has
just an approximation because I was reading your information. I was, oh, that's really good, and we're gonna review the short films already. You already but the ones I have the opportunity to view on your short reel, and looks very fantastic. And I was and for those people who learning about you, but you already for example, you won award for Ron Prisma Independent Film Awards, a Best Feature Screenplay, Queen Palm International Film Festival, Parties Art and Movies Awards. And also you get nominated in Mexico and Oaxaca. How you feel about that?
Yes, now that was for a script called Zap, which I co-wrote with Justin Hayward. Have you come across Justin?
Yes. Very good actor, yes.
Yeah. And also a brilliant writer. And he brought me on board to co-write that script. Very, very fun project to get involved with, which we're really hoping to do something with at some point. And yeah, we had a lot of success on the awards circuit with that one. We went to the Paris one in person, which was very nice. It was one of the last. It was, I think, the last time I left the country before the pandemic. So yeah, a bit of like a nice weekend in France before all hell broke loose. But yeah, it's very nice to co-write on other people's stories sometimes, because it's sort of every now and then it's like sort of like having the dessert without the broccoli almost, because you get to do all the fun stuff of telling the story without the logistical nightmare of putting it all together and ironing out the plot holes and all that kind of thing. You can just focus on the execution, which is the best part, really. So yes, Zap, very, very fun project. Justin and I have been meaning to write something else for a while now. I saw him the other day, actually. We had a very nice chat.
Yes, with Wayne. I actually, he was one of the latest interviews that I had, and also with being Facebook friends, I will say like 2 years ago. And yes, it's very touching. He wrote a book about his personal story, and also was you play the engagement based on the true story for about him. So can you tell us about that?
That's Wayne you're talking about, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes, I saw the interview. Wayne, no, that's another that was another thing. Wayne I met, I think, in about 2016, and he took part in a silent film that I made for the Brighton Filmmakers Coalition, and it was shortly after that he commissioned me to write his stage play. We've put on twice. It's done quite well review-wise. We did it once in Brighton and once in Clapham. I think it was Clapham, yeah. And he then took that same story from the play and turned it into a novel, which I was sort of a spare pair of eyes on. I wouldn't say I really was involved much in the writing of the novel, but I was more sort of in an editing capacity. But yeah, he's done really well with the book. I'm thrilled for him on that, and of course he's been in a couple more short films with me since then.
Yes, exactly. Yes, like a quote duelo. That's the correct way to call duelo. Is one of them.
Yes.
Yes.
That was yeah, that was a thing of, I think, with Code Duello. We just come out of, I think, the first lockdown in the summer, and Wayne just said he just really wanted to do something, and there was a challenge to do a 50-second film, so it was like less than a minute. And I just had this very simple idea. It was basically, it's like a Monty Python sketch, basically. It's sort of very like fish slapping dance or something like that. And it was literally just him, me, and a cameraman that I've been friends with since college. We just went down to Hove Park and just shot it in an afternoon. Did all the sound in Foley, and annoyingly, it's been one of the best received films I ever did. The one that we put the absolute least into, and it's the one people like the best. But no, that was you may have got the sense that my big priority at this stage, as well as sort of making good content, is to make it a fun day out for the cast and crew, really.
That's good. Yes, that's the point. Yes, because it's like every project's like a makeup, not only a staff and I'm saying staff like a cast and crew, but also like a family, and that time like be able to commune together. And yes, that's the beauty of that. Some directors like you, and I heard from other ones, they express the same way to make them feel they're fun, entertained. They really enjoy what they're doing. Oh, the characters or the play the roles they are portrayed. Yes. Yes. And the one that called me to attention to me a lot is that 2 meters with Wayne again. That one, it was reminds me something I saw in my calendar store, something similar to that one.
Yes, I'm very proud of 2 meters. That's sort of been the latest festival darling that I've directed, and we do have one on the circuit at the moment called Edge of Insanity, which I'm creative writer and producer of. But 2 meters was the last film that I finished as director, and that was another. Not only did we shoot that during the pandemic, but it was about the pandemic, and it was a thing of it was inspired by my experiences during the first lockdown, when we knew less about COVID, and there was the big and the importance of social distancing, of always the title gets its name from maintaining 2 meters social distance, and that was again quite a simple idea. That another project where we actually all the sound was recorded in Foley. Which I did learn a valuable lesson, that it can be very tempting if you're doing a silent film to not bother with the sound on the day and record everything in Foley. And I did that on Code Duello, and it worked a treat. And it was I did it on 2 meters, and it did work a treat as well. But there is a very big difference between 52 seconds and approaching 5 minutes. It was a lot more work, and had I done it differently, we might have had more trouble with the space. But I probably would have recorded sound with hindsight.
That's good. And what about the Age Insanity was 28. That was super short, but the 28 minutes with Wayne, you're still working on that one? It's already released. The
Age of Insanity is out. Yeah, it's had its premiere, and it's now on the festival circuit. It's had a couple of wins, which we're very excited about. It won at Brighton Rocks. I think it got an honourable mention in the main Brighton category, and Wayne won Best Performance for his role as Trevor Murphy in that. I wasn't able to attend the awards ceremony, but apparently they received the award from Ben Wheatley. That's good. But yes, no, I was very glad to see that one succeed. I thought Luke and Wayne did a fantastic job on it, and it was a film that a lot of time and effort went into, and it kind of there are some projects that just sort of they come up against every manner of obstacle, and you still get them over the line, and it's just so
Exactly.
nice.
That's good. That's good. And for those people who want to, because it's still on the festival, but when is broadcast, or with any platform people can be able to see it? Want to share that how we can find the film?
To find Edge of Insanity?
Yes, yes.
That is a good question. We're looking into that at the moment. I mean, at present, it's doing its festival run, and so can't really make a project public while it's touring the festivals. We are looking into where it will go when it is finished. There've been a couple of conversations about that. I don't know where it will end up, but I'm sure that Luke, the director, Wayne, and myself will be shouting to the heavens once we know where it will be, because we do want people to see this film. Absolutely.
Exactly. Do you have any do you have how can I say any projection about one of your short films to transform to the feature film? For example, this one, The Edge of Insanity, are you thinking about the possibility to make it a feature film? That one?
It's funny you should say that. I know Wayne is very keen on the feature idea. I would have to say, one of the perks that we did for the crowdfund, we had a load of very generous backers that enabled us to get the film made. One of the perks was, this is something that I'm very passionate about, is one of the perks was offering the script, but the script as was read by the actors on the day of filming, and the first draft of the script we wrote, so that you could compare and contrast. If you were to read, if you're one of the people that claim that perk, and you got to read the first draft of the script, you'll know it practically was a feature. Like, if memory serves, it was near 50 pages long, and it was a thing of the guy who did the first Trevor Murphy film, Alexander the Lines, read the script and loved it and said, "Oh my God, it's the best," which meant we kind of held on to it quite tightly for a while before we realized there was no way in hell we could make it. Just not in the way that we ended up making it, because we had to take it from a 50-minute film to a 15. We didn't quite manage that because it ended up at about 28 minutes. But yeah, it's a tricky one, because I am in the process of putting together a feature for next year. And I've gone back and forth several times about shooting a short version of it. And it's one of those things that I know that it's been done a lot of times. I know there was a film came out this year called Brian and Charles, very charming little film. If you haven't seen it, I recommend. And famously, you had the likes of Whiplash that started out as an award-winning short that then got turned into a feature film. And I don't think any of the shorts I've made so far I could really turn into features. I feel like, because I like to make everything as standalone as it can be.
I got you.
It's like I wouldn't mind sort of maybe making one of the scenes from the film as a beginning, because ideally I like scenes or sequences to be like that anyway.
Exactly.
But we'll see. That'll be one to look at in the new year, certainly.
Fantastic. So you say that you're in the process to work in the feature film this coming year. And do you have any additional projects also you would like to share to the audience?
Well, yeah, I mean the feature film Vegan Vampires, I think Wayne spoke about when he
Yes, he
was
mentioned that to me.
yes. We have the script ready. A couple of people attached, and it's just a matter of getting the inertia, getting everything off the ground. Hardest part, absolutely, it's going to be the hardest part next year. Hardest thing I've ever done. I'm very much aware of that. In the meantime, I've got a little short film that we shot in February that is almost ready to go. I think it just needs a little bit of TLC and grading. And I don't know what I'm going to do with that one yet, actually. I'm going to float it past a couple of cast and crew, see what they make of it. More excitingly, I'm just about finishing the rough cut of a short film that we shot in October called Cold Caller. And if you follow me on Instagram, I haven't been posting about that as much as I should, but I will get back to updating on that because it's probably the most ambitious I've ever done as a definitely worked Paul Wayne harder than I ever have. He had basically 10 minutes of acting to nothing, very intense scenes, a lot darker than I would, and more intense than I usually aim for as well. So I'll be very interested to see what people think of that one. It is a bit of a departure for me, but yeah, but the crew on this one were on fire, and just looking at the roughest of rough cuts before it's had anything done to it before, and already it doesn't look bad. So once we've gone through all the post-production process, that'll be one I can't wait to show people.
Fantastic. And keep me posted to do more interviews with you with the oncoming projects, and I can be able to share to the followers and look very I admire people like you, very passionate what you're doing I can tell, you can see your passion and as a writer and director, and thank you so much for sharing your adventure and experience about as a film director. You're very inspirational. Thank you so much.
Thank you ever so much, and Happy New Year, everyone, if it comes
yes,
out
but
in time.
before you go, I'm going to ask you the last question I asked to all my guests. What advice can you share to those people who want to reach their dreams in the film industry?
Oh, I mean, that very much depends on where you are in life or in your pursuits or whatever. But what I will say is, if you're the kind of person that, like me, I identify more as a screenwriter, and writing scripts is part of it that I feel I'm best at. But it's a thing that I started writing scripts because I didn't believe anyone would let me just make films. And I really wish, going back, that someone had taken me aside and said, "No, you've got to get stuff made." And so it's the thing of, if you're sort of school kind of age, I would say you definitely want to look at getting into production in any way that you can, joining production companies as runners and assistants and that kind of thing. If like myself, you did a different path at school, maybe sort of missed the boat on that angle, I would say the biggest thing of advice I could give is get talking to people near you who are interested in it as well. Get people together, get friends who could be crew. They've got to be friends first, crew second at that early stage. Very important, I think. And just make stuff.
That's good.
Just if you don't want to direct yourself, there'll be a budding director in the street somewhere, that kind of thing. And the more people you talk to, the more you'll realize the kind of people you want to work with.
Mhm.
And at the first stage, when I've never until Cold Caller, I'd never made a film myself for more than 500 quid.
Mhm.
I've always done things very on the cheap.
Mhm.
And it's the way I do it is, it's not a thing of I try and go and hire. I didn't sort of, it would be a thing of people that I met and had a drink with, had a good time. And I would just say, you know what? I've got this fun, daft idea. If you want to take a look at it, I was thinking a couple of weekends' time, we could go and shoot it down by the marina. It should only take a day.
Mhm.
That's how I got most of my films made so far.
Mhm.
And I think that is the way to start these days. And particularly if like me, you make films that are a little bit on the funnier side,
Mhm.
I guarantee you that nobody knows your sense of humor better than you. So if you
Mhm.
want to put it out there, you've kind of got to make it and sort of get it the way you see it, because otherwise you're banking on all the other people making it having the same sort of sense of humor as you, which they might not. I know that's why it's so hard to get comedy scripts
Mhm.
read by the big companies, is because you're not just banking on them thinking the script's good, you're banking on the readers sharing your sense of humor.
Exactly.
So that's why I choose to make a lot of my comedy myself, and why I've actually gone into stand-up as another way of getting voice out, because yeah, so basically that all, I guess, tells into the main crystallized piece of advice I would give, which is if you've got ideas and you want to see them done, try doing them yourself.
Exactly.
And then
I agree.
you'll connect with the people who can maybe take your ideas and do better things, but no one will know until they see them. And how do you break that? How do you break that paradox? You just jump in and do them yourself. And I wish someone had told me that when I was about 15 or 16.
That's good. No, but thanks for the advice, and I'm pretty sure that it's the purpose of this show is first of all for inspirational purposes, to spread the message that there's no limit in our life. It's just we want to do something, just do it, and remove excuses, and also for human connections. I had a blast that when I interview some actors, some directors, they find the actors and then connected and things like that. And that's the purpose of the show, to expand, special human connection, to promote the people skills and things like that. So thank you so much, James. Looking forward to meeting with you in the future, in the near future, and to follow up with your projects.
Thank you. It's been lovely talking to you.